Welcome back, friends, to another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnium video. Lids87 here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Ultimecia and Penelo to see how worthy they are of your precious tickets and or gems. Now, before I get into it though, friends, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and shoutouts where shoutouts are due. Rems Database, Materia Bot, Compendium, and Tome Bear Troop. Those links will be down below in the description. Now, on February 9th, UTC time, we are going to be getting a brand new burst weapon and a brand new LD weapon. And on the right hand side, a little bit lower near the middle, it does confirm that there's going to be free multi-draws on these banners, and Penelo is going to be receiving a brand new costume. Now, on these banners, Ultimecia will be the character getting that brand new burst. This is a repeat of her LD weapon, and on the other banner is where Penelo will be receiving her new LD weapon. Now, there are going to be timestamps down below in the time frame description, in the comments, if you guys would like to skip ahead to certain portions of this video, if you guys are already familiar with either Penelo or Ultimecia, as I am going to do my best to recap this, because I'm going to be talking about two characters, and I don't want this video to be super long. Alright, friends, so if you time frames down below. Alright, so the first character we are going to be taking a look at is going to be Penelo. Now, Penelo, she is a character from Final Fantasy XII, and she is a white crystal affinity character. She is a support type character, and like I mentioned earlier, she does receive an LD weapon. Now, again, friends, I'm going to do my best to recap these, as there's going to be two characters, so if I do skip out on some things, it's for that reason. I don't want this video to be very long for you guys. Alright, so recap of Penelo is that the way she works is she has two stackable stances, with max stacks being at 3. Now, using an ability will dispel the other stance. So if you use one ability, get that stance. If you use the other ability, she will cancel that stance. And we're going to talk about those here in a second. And both abilities will brave heal the party, and they won't increase the turn count. Now, with her first ability, Haste Ramba, she will grant herself one stack of Ramba Step, like her first stance. She will grant the party 50% speed up, and she will grant the allies 20% attack up. Now, Ramba Step is a 7-turn buff on Penelo. Max stacks is at 3. This is going to increase her Int Brave and speed by 40%, increase her attack by 20%, and this will increase the party's attack by 40%. Now, depending on how many stacks you are, Ramba Step, this is going to improve her Brave Attack and HP Attack Ramba. So at max stacks, they will transform into a Brave Attack plus Ramba, HP Attack plus Ramba, and they will both Brave Heal the party. But the difference between this stance and her following stance, her Waltz stance, is that with this one, there's going to be more Brave hits in these attacks. Now, with her second ability, Regen Waltz, she will grant herself one stack of Waltz Steps. She will dispel the previous stance if it is active, and vice versa. And she will grant the party 20% of max HP regen for 8 turns, and she will grant the party Brave regen of 100% of Int Brave. Now, Waltz Step, it is a 8-turn buff on Penelo. Max stacks is at 3. This is going to increase her Int Brave and attack by 40%. There's going to be an aura, a Brave regen and an HP regen aura in this one buff. And the Brave regen is going to be of 20% of Int Brave, and the HP regen is going to be 10% of max HP. And same thing with Waltz Step. The more stacks you're at, the more upgraded her Brave and HP attack become. So at max stacks, 3 stacks, you will gain access to Brave Attack plus Waltz, HP Attack plus Waltz. And this one focuses more on Brave healing your party. With her HP attack, there is no Brave Attack. She just dumps out said Brave on the enemy. Her EX ability, Intercession, it does recharge fairly quickly. It is an instant turn rate. This will reduce the target's Brave by 150% of her Int Brave. Brave heals the party. She will also HP heal the party, and any current active Ramba Step or Waltz Step stacks will be increased by 1. Now, with her LD ability, Evanescence, she's going to have 4 uses of this. This is going to be a party-wide debuff cleanser, so she's going to remove all the debuffs from the party. She's going to self Brave heal, do some AoE Brave hits followed by 100% AoE HP attack. She will heal the party's Brave by 10% of HP damage dealt. She will grant the party framed speed up, HP regen, and Brave regen, and she will also grant the allies attack up if there's any space for it. And she will also grant herself Liberty Dancer. Liberty Dancer is a 16-turn buff on Penelo that's going to increase the party's Int Brave, Max Brave, and gained Overflow by 20%. Now, Penelo will be receiving character boards, and once you max out her character boards, what this is going to do for her LD ability, this will increase the Brave gain by 50%, the Brave hits will become 4, this will increase the total Brave potency by 60%, and this will increase the overflow limits by 30%, and she will also gain access to her LD call ability, Evanescence Call, which is she's going to perform Evanescence, and there's going to be a special effect on the caller for 9 turns. This will increase the party's int brave, max brave, and gained overflow by 20%. And also, she will also be receiving a 7-star armor. That's going to come with the support keystone, which will increase the party's attack by 5% and also increase the party's held brave and HP damage limits by 5%. So if you are missing a character that has this type of support keystone with their 7-star armor, Penelo wouldn't be a bad pickup to add into your inventory. Now, some pros about Penelo is that she's a great battery and healer. Damage from EX is based on Int Brave, and she is a debuff cleanser with her LD ability. We really don't have many debuff cleansers. We actually were introduced to one of them as our global first LD character, being the Balthier. So technically, right now on the global side, she is our second debuff cleanser with their LD ability. I mean, we have Yuna, but try bringing her into Lufenia content and see how you do. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to pick up somebody that has a debuff cleanser, especially with their LD. But the difference between Balthier and Penelo is that with Penelo, she has access to her LD call action that anybody can equip. So technically, anybody could become a debuff cleanser. Now, some cons about Penelo, and this is her. I would say this is her primary cons, is that she has too many buffs. Too many buffs for the party. So 4 for the party, 5 for herself. With her LD, 3 buffs are framed. So if the other party members grant themselves more than 2 types of buffs, one of those is not going to be on there unless you can plan it. You get those buffs on said party member, then you use Penelo's LD ability. All of her buffs are not going to stick, but your other party member will still have their own framed buffs. But if they have generic buffs, you're going to be fighting for those slots, especially once Penelo frames her buffs. You're not going to be able to get your own buffs on there on that other party member unless Penelo's buffs are removed. Time to talk about the main unit on these banners, and that's going to be Ultimecia. Ultimecia, she's a character from Final Fantasy VIII. She's a green crystal affinity character. She is a magic attacker, a pretty good one at that. And she's going to be coming into the game with an LD and burst weapon. Now, Ultimecia, the way she works is that her first ability, Protean Swords, and her second ability, Hell's Judgment, they will upgrade to their plus versions once her Maleficium stacks are at 5. Maleficium is a buff that she grants herself. It's stackable up to 5 stacks. So what you need to take into consideration is that the non-upgraded versions, they're just going to be weaker, but they will both grant her 2 stacks of Maleficium. So you could either spam these, Protean Swords or Hell's Judgment to get up to 5 stacks to get their upgraded versions. And you can use her upgraded Brave attack and upgraded HP attack, which will also increase the current stacks of any existing Maleficium stacks. Or you can use her LD ability. We're gonna talk about that again once I talk about her LD ability. But with her LD ability, she will automatically grant herself 5 stacks of Maleficium. Now, Protean Swords Plus, it is activated once she's at 5 stacks of Maleficium. This is going to be a 9-hit magic alternating Brave plus single target HP attack, and this will still grant her 2 stacks of Maleficium, or aka it will refresh her Maleficium buff. Her second ability, Hell's Judgment, in its base form and upgraded version, there is going to be a 60% gravity on either the target or targets, depending on which, if you're in its base or upgraded form. Now, gravity is very important because gravity ignores defense and Brave damage reduction. Both versions will inflict Sorcerer's Hatred on all the targets, and this will grant her 2 stacks of Maleficium. Hell's Judgment Plus, this is still going to do the 60% gravity, but now on all the targets is going to be a 4-hit AoE Magic Brave plus 100% AoE HP attack, and this will still inflict Sorcerer's Hatred and grant her Maleficium. Maleficium is a 6-turn buff on Ultimecia that is going to increase her max Brave and attack by 50%. And I did put a note here that her Brave Attack Plus, aka Maelstrom, is going to increase any current active Maleficium stacks by 1, and her HP Attack Plus is going to increase any current active Maleficium stacks by 2. Her additional ability, Set Brave Regen. For 4 turns, she's going to have a Brave Regen effect, and she will also increase her Int Brave by 40%. Her call action, Hell's Judgment, she's going to perform Hell's Judgment. There's going to be a gravity of 2/5 of the. She's going to reduce the enemy's brave to 2/5. She's going to do the AoE 100% AoE HP attack, and she will also inflict Sorcerer's Hatred on all the targets for 4 turns. Now that debuff, Sorcerer's Hatred, it is a 6-turn debuff on the target that there's going to be a sacked effect by 10% of max brave, and this will also lower that enemy's defense by 20%. Ultimecia's EX ability, this is where a lot of her power is going to come from. A lot of her free turns is going to come from. She's some kind of time mage, so they brought that concept into the game with her EX ability, Apocalypse. So it's going to be instant turn rate. So she gets to act immediately. She's going to brave heal. She's going to do AoE brave hits with a split HP attack on all the enemies. Free ability use on the following turn. This will not increase the turn count, and she will grant herself Junction Griever and Griever magics. Junction Griever is a buff on Ultimecia for 2 turns. This will have instant turn rate and does not increase the turn count. This is where she has the capabilities to act back to back. So after using her EX ability, ideally you either want to use Protean Swords Plus or Hell's Judgment Plus. I like to use Hell's Judgment Plus. Now, her other buff, it's Griever's Magics. It is a 6-turn buff on her that's going to further increase her max brave and attack by 20%. Her LD ability, again, this is a repeat. We have had this before. The main difference now is that she is going to be receiving LD boards. So her LD ability, Shockwave Pulsar, 8-hit magic AoE brave plus split HP attack. This is going to grant her 5 stacks of Maleficium right off of the bat. She will also grant herself Sorcerer's Intervention for 10 turns, and what that is this is going to increase her stolen brave overflow by 30% and give her a brave regen effect of 40% of her int brave. Now with her LD boards, this is going to further improve Shockwave Pulsar. This is going to gravity the enemy's brave to 1/4 of their brave. There's going to be 2 sets of brave plus HP attack. So initially it's going to be 4-hit AoE magic brave plus AoE HP attack, followed by 6-hit AoE magic brave plus AoE HP attack. The beautiful thing about with her extensions now is this will recover 1 use of Hell's Judgment. So let's say you're in a Lufenia stage that has more than 1 wave. What you can do is you can spam her abilities, use her Hell's Judgment to increase her Maleficium stacks, and then use her LD ability to recover a use of Hell's Judgment. Now keep in mind that this will only recover up to her max amount, and with her Sorcerer's Intervention is going to be improved, so the duration is going to increase by 2, and now this will increase her attack by 40%. Also with her LD board, she will gain access to her LD call action Shockwave Pulsar. She will perform Shockwave Pulsar in the special effect for 6 turns for the caller, plus 40% to attack up and brave regen of 20%. Ultimecia's burst weapon. The burst effect for 3 turns after she does her finished burst. Ultimecia will delete the target's next turn with her own abilities. Yeah, that's pretty much it. She doesn't get any form of brave damage up, HP damage up. There's no party-wide effects. So this burst effect, it can come in handy here and there depending on the situation. I mean, if you're deleting an enemy's turn and they have to act, you might be putting yourself in trouble. So it really depends on the situation you are in, but it can come in handy during other situations. But me personally, I prefer brave damage up and HP damage up burst effects towards the party. I'd rather use those, especially in Lufenia stages where the enemies start getting, massive amounts of brave damage reduction. That's just me. You might like this, but we will talk about this a little bit later. And with her armor, 7-star armor, she will gain access to Tactics Keystone, all the enemies minus 10% to int brave, max brave, and attack, and a negative 20% to their defense. This is an invisible aura, and this will increase her own held and HP damage cap limits by 15%. Pros about Ultimecia: back-to-back turns after using her EX ability, followed by a free ability use on the following turn. Allows you to use Hell's Judgment for free. Allows you to use Protean Swords for free, allowing you to either inflict Sorcerer's Hatred with her Hell's Judgment or refresh her Maleficium stacks with both of her abilities. Don't let the Maleficium stack fall off, because you will have to burn either a lot of abilities to get back up there, or you will have to burn an LD ability, which, I mean, depending on your playstyle, could work in your favor. Now, she is a non-elemental magic attacker, so you can enhance her with elements and imperil the enemies with elements, allowing you to bring her to different types of stages and just really boosting her damage. And she is a gravity-based unit. Again, this will ignore defense and ignore brave damage reduction. Cons about Ultimecia is that she has no forms of brave damage up buffs or debuffs. So ideally you do want to pair her up with someone that does that, you know, Lightning or Balthier or even Sephiroth, because Sephiroth also has a debuff that will increase the brave damage done on those targets, just to allow her to hit harder. And her power relies at her being at 5 stacks of Maleficent. Now that we have her LD ability and we have had it, it allows her to gain access to 5 stacks upon using her LD ability, but you will have to be burning an ability used to get her back up there if they fall off. And if it's not a part of the plan, then you're going to be, again, burning right through your abilities. And she has 4 uses of Hell's Judgment, which I have seen some players complain before back in the past that they were confused on why she had so little uses, and they would literally just use Hell's Judgment and run out. But ideally you want to use this after her EX ability because you use it for free. But now with her LD ability, with her LD boards, this will recover 1 use of Hell's Judgment, just prolonging how many uses you have of Hell's Judgment up to 4 total, because she has 4 uses of her LD ability. So technically you have 8 uses of Hell's Judgment. Alright friends, now we're at that part of the video. How worthy are they? How worthy is Penelo and Ultimecia of your precious tickets and or gems? Now, they're both going to be on separate banners, okay? Penelo's going to be on her own banner with her LD weapon, and Ultimecia's burst will be on there. And then you have Cyan and Thunkred along with her. Cyan, Thunkred, when are you going to get an LD, man? LD rework, I want to see you top tier again like back in the day. But also keep in mind that with these banners, there is going to be 1 free multi-draw per banner, so that's 2 free multi-draws total. Thank you, Square Enix, for these free multi-draws. Now, Penelo, I'm going to put her at the literally in between somewhat worthy and worthy of your precious tickets and or gems, because I highly recommend that you guys pick yourselves some form of debuff cleanser. If you don't have Balthier already, I mean, of course, Balthier and Penelo, they do different things, right? Penelo has battery. She has healing capabilities built into her kit. Balthier, he just stands there and you get a beautiful aura and he steals shit from the enemies. So obviously they do different things. I mean, if you want to pair them together, that's awesome. But I do recommend that you guys try to pick yourselves up some form of debuff cleanser, because next month there is going to be a Lufenia where the special counter will increase upon cleansing your party members' debuffs. Theodore does that also. So if you guys want to wait for him, we'll talk about him in a different video by all means. Now, my main caveat, my main thing that I don't like about Penelo is now that she frames her buffs with her LD ability, it kind of restricts your party members, especially if they have more than 2 buffs on them, because now you're going to be fighting for slots. But if you can work around that, let's say some of those buffs that those other party members grant themselves, if they're just like crappy generic buffs, like some very low attack potency buff, hey, okay, then that's fine. Those frame buffs, you will push those other generic buffs off, and it could work to your advantage. And also the fact that they're framed can help you keep the debuffs off of your party members from the enemies. So it goes both ways. So I'm going to put her right smack down the middle of somewhat worthy and worthy. She is a good unit. I love what she does. I've always liked the Penelo, but it's going to come down to what you guys need. Do you guys need a battery? Do you guys need a healer? Massive buffs towards your party members, and now with her LD ability, framed buffs. So keep that in mind if you decide to pull after the Penelo. Ultimecia, I am going to be judging her burst and her LD. So for her LD, if you do not have it already, I would say it is absolutely worthy to pick it up. And her burst, I'm going to say somewhat worthy of your resources. Now, if you already have Ultimecia's LD from before, then by all means chase on this banner to try to get Penelo's and Ultimecia's burst weapon. Now on this banner, with Ultimecia gaining access to her LD boards, being able to hit harder, being able to refresh a use of Hell's Judgment. Yes, you absolutely want that, again, for longevity in fights, because now you have 8 uses of Hell's Judgment if you play your cards correctly. Ultimecia, she has the capability to act back-to-back after her EX ability, getting free turns, dishing out the damage. Now, again, as I did mention earlier, a con of her is that she does not inflict some form of debuff or gain some kind of buff that increases her brave damage. So ideally, you do want to pair her up with a unit that gives her access to that. So Balthier, for example, lightning or what's his face, strip her off, okay? Just so she can dish out more damage, especially during her burst effect, or I'm sorry, her burst mode, if you did pick up her burst weapon, or when she has access to those free back-to-back turns. So, and when it comes to LD, yes, if you are in need of a magic attacker, get her LD ability. You won't regret it. Pair her up with Balthier, pair her up with Lightning, pair her up with Sephiroth, just to watch her hit a lot of damage, or pair her up with some form of party enhancer, elemental imperiler, and she's gonna work beautifully in your party. Now, her burst weapon, I will admit, I love the finish burst. A beautiful animation. She like stops time, she teleports. It's really badass. If you have some really good headphones, try it out. I think any headphones, really. Put on some good headphones, turn it up, just listen to it. Just the bass. Oh man, drooling. But I do value burst effects that does something for the party. So either increases their brave damage up, increases their HP damage up, or gives them overflow, any of that wonderful stuff. This is strictly turn deletion, which can come in handy in different situations. So let's say, for example, a Lufenia boss needs to take a turn for their special counter to go up, and because you stop them from acting, you're deleting their turns, you might be digging yourself in a hole. But if the boss requires some other type of special counter increase condition, I don't know, do some kind of elemental brave damage, keep their brave underneath a certain threshold, then by deleting their turns, you might be buying yourself some time. So I'm not saying that her burst weapon is bad. I'm not saying that her burst effect is bad. I just prefer to pick up a burst weapon that gives me that increased damage for your party members. All right, friends. So that's where I'm at with both of these units. All right, Penelo, somewhat worthy of your resources depending on your need. I mean, if you love Penelo, by all means. Ultimecia LD, yes, worthy. Try to pick it up if you can. And her burst, somewhat worthy. If you get it, hey, that's just a cherry on the top. Lids, my man, let me tell you something though. I love Ultimecia, all right? I want to pick up her burst weapon. Which is the best burst banner to pick up her burst weapon? Now, let me tell you, friend, which is the best burst banner to pick it up. She is going to be featured, aside from her own, on 4 other banners. So Penelo's, as you guys just saw, Cryos, Jack, and Hopes. I'm not gonna lie, this was hard. They're all really good. They're all really good units. I do like them all. If I just had to pick just one, it was almost Cryo, but I'm going to have to say Jack. So again, all of those other wonderful banners, they're beautiful banners. I love Cryo. Hope, Magic Imperil, Magic Resist Down, our first only unit that's going to do that. Jack with his LD debuff once he... Alright, let me slow down here. Okay, so Jack, I do believe it is the best burst banner to pick up Ultimecia's burst weapon on because of what he can do, what his LD ability debuff is going to do for you. And you're going to be using his LD call action a lot. So with his LD call action, he's going to come in, inflict a debuff that is going to decrease enemies' defense by 50%. And increase the amount of brave damage that enemy receives by 30%. Now, it is a stackable debuff that is at max stacks, and it's going to increase when that enemy receives damage. So, in the Lufenia era, if you don't have some form of unit on your team that allows you to increase brave damage done to said target, Jack is going to fill that void beautifully. You are going to be using Jack's call action a lot. So if he's not on your team, you will be using his LD call action a lot, especially with like Ultimecia, for example. Ultimecia equipped Jack's LD call action. Now she has access, so she can inflict a debuff that is going to increase not just her own brave damage up, but the party's brave damage up by 30%. And you can stack this up along with Balthier, with Lightning, with Sephiroth, just to take full advantage of the brave damage up. All right, friends. So again, this was a very tough one to pick from all these beautiful banners, but at the end of the day, I'm going to say that Jack's banner is the best burst banner to pick up Ultimecia's burst weapon on. That is it for this video, friends. I want to thank you guys for watching my How Worthy Are They, covering the Penelo and the Ultimecia. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments your own personal plans. Me personally, I already have Ultimecia's LD weapon on the global side. I did pick it up ahead of time. Now I can pick which of the other banners I do want to chase for her burst. I don't I'm not going to go ham for her burst. If anything, I will be trying to chase for some of these other units' LD weapons. So either Penelo's. I do have plans to throw maybe like 200 tickets outside of the free multi-draw. Jax, I do want to get his LD. Cryo, Hope, I'm going to throw tickets on all those banners to try to get their LD weapons. And if I pick up Ultimecia's burst weapon in the process, that is the cherry on top. But I'm not going to go ham for her burst weapons. I guess I have to check my burst tokens in my mailbox because they have a 90-day expiration, and I hope I'm not about to run out of those, because if I am, then I might as well use them on Ultimecia. Alright friends, so that is going to be my own personal plans. Again, let me know all your wonderful plans down below in the comments, and until next time friends, good luck and have a good one.